Welcome, everybody, to Local Film Talk. I'm your host, Bob Walters. This is the show where we talk to local filmmakers about what they're up to. This week we got a special episode. I thought I was going to take the week off, but instead it turns out a couple of our local writers and directors actually won a couple awards at the weekend, over the weekend on the festival circuit, so I thought I'd get them in here real quick, last minute to talk about what happened this weekend. So we've got the film in question is Disengaged, and we have the director Christopher G. Moore.
That'd be me.
And the writer of the thing, Eric Pruitt.
Roger.
Eric is a mainstay of the show, obviously. This is what, his fourth or fifth time on the show, probably?
Fourth. I popped in with the Tracy and Matthew show. That's right.
Yeah, you weren't on the one with Piper and Monique.
No, that one was probably a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was cool. But you are definitely no stranger. This is Christopher's first time. Obviously the most professional of the group because he does a podcast. He's got all the gear and everything. The microphone that I'm jealous of. What is it? You do the Hannibal Fan podcast, right?
Hannibal, yeah, for Horror News Radio, Hannibal Fan podcast. Sometimes I pop on for some of their other regular shows like Horror News Radio and stuff. Yeah, I'm a huge Hannibal addict, so yeah, I can't get enough of it.
You and Doc Rotten, John Slattery, right?
Oh yeah. And June 4th is when it comes back, so I'm so excited. I actually got the book, The Art and Making of Hannibal, which goes into all the production design that they did for the show. It's amazing, all the attention to detail that show does.
That's one of those big coffee table books, right?
Yeah. I'm about halfway through it right now because I think we might do a podcast, some pre-podcast stuff before it's released.
Right.
Yeah, it's such a great show. It's an amazing show. I would kill to be able to direct something on that show. And get Eric to write an episode. That would be.
Yeah, that's what I really like is that you didn't get tired of just writing about eating people, writing and directing about people eating people, which is what you want to get some more of it, dude. That's what I'm talking about. The first taste, and all of a sudden they're gonna have to put us down.
It's a recurring theme. This is going to be stuff like this is like Exhibit A, People's Exhibit B. This is what they're going to come back to after the killing spree.
During our trial.
Yeah. So, Christopher, you and John Slattery were actually down in Charleston for the Crimson Screen Horror Film Festival. You were actually there to promote your new film you're working on, which we'll get to later, but you had actually entered Disengaged in the competition, so I'm not familiar with that festival. Actually, I'm not really familiar with the festival circuit at all, so tell us a little bit about what that one was like.
Well, actually, it's the second time I've been there. Last year, Eric and I went down there and had a blast, and we ended up winning screenplay last year. And it's started by filmmakers, both Tommy Faircloth and Robbie Zobel. They're the ones that run it. And they do an amazing job because it's all about the filmmakers. They even give the filmmakers like a free vending table if you want it, as long as they have enough of them. So we had a vending table there last year. X sold some of his books. We sold some foodie DVDs. And this year, I had a vending table and I had like a collection of the last films I did. I had some posters. I had some Disengaged playing cards that one pair that I had left over of them. So yeah, it's all about the filmmakers, and we met some great filmmakers last year. We met L.M. Harder. We hung out with her a lot, and I've become really good friends with her in the last year. And then this year, I met some cool people too. I met a filmmaker from Maine. What's his name? Corey Norman, I think his name is. And we met a lady who flew in from Tokyo. Pablo Acento, she flew in from Tokyo for the film festival, and she ended up winning Best Cinematography. She had a really amazing film called She that's almost like Japanese horror type thing that she directed.
She or sheath, like sheathing a knife?
It's like She, S-H-I.
Oh.
With little accents over it. So and we I got to hang out with them and a few other filmmakers, and of course Tommy and Robbie are always very great and gracious, and they had a lot of really cool after parties we hung out with. There was a bar downtown that had like all these geeky things on the wall and stuff. So yeah, it is. I had a blast. I had a lot of fun. I think the only thing missing was Eric not being there.
No, that was I went last year, and that was a lot of fun. Not just the hijinks that Christopher and I got into with a bottle of Fireball, but like but yeah, they put on a really good program. It was in the same place as last year, right?
Yeah, the main theater area.
This thing is on an abandoned army base in North Charleston. It looks like it should be like they could film a zombie movie right there. It's a crazy setup, but they get like food trucks and food trucks to come out. A lot of people will come out. You get to get your picture taken in a coffin, and it looked like they had a lot of that going on this year too. So it's a great setup. And then of course the awards they're pretty sick.
That's a cool trophy. Yeah, I saw Christopher's photo in the coffin this year on Facebook. That's pretty sweet.
it is pretty sweet, and they had some. They brought out some. What are they called? Hearses. They had some hearses one day out there, and they had food trucks. They had one called Zombie Bob's Pizza. That had.
Dude, the pictures you took of that pizza are making me hungry.
It was for $4 you would get a pizza that's as big as it was a slice as big as a regular pizza. Well, I had to split it with Doc. And then they had next day they had a barbecue truck, and then the next day they had another different barbecue truck, and then they also had these this woman that was selling these different types of popsicles, and I had like what was it, Girl Scout cookies and cream one that was like had mashed up Girl Scout cookies. Yeah, it was delicious. So yeah, they have all kinds of cool stuff, and then of course the after parties. They had it at several different locations. We were making, I think Jack and I were making. By the way, I think he goes by Jack instead of his name's John online. But we were going to these different bars, and there was like one bar called like the Green Goat, and another bar was the Sparrow, and I was making jokes. I feel like we're in the movie At World's End where you go into all these weirdly named bars.
So last year, when both of you guys were there, that was actually for your last film, Foodie.
Yeah.
Which and what was that about again?
That's about a food service professional who is invited to an exclusive underground dinner party and finds out there's much more on the menu than he bargained for.
Dun dun dun.
Well put. That's not at all like you were reading it off the bottom of a poster.
Oh no, I've said it so many times, dude. I got it.
It's ingrained in your brain.
That's your recurring theme right there. People eating people.
Well, they taste good. Some of them,
So and that one won a bunch of awards last year, right?
Yeah. Over a 2-year period, we won 8 awards, and we got into like 15 festivals with Foodie. So yeah, it was pretty successful. Although Disengage is getting close to that now, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So for the people who haven't seen it yet, which can't be many people, it's been on the circuit for a while. Go ahead and describe what Disengaged is about.
Disengaged is about a young lady who's has the daunting task of taking care of her neighbors after a post-apocalyptic I know. A post-apocalyptic event causes them all to freeze in place. So maybe I should have gotten Eric to say that.
Post-apocalyptic.
You can't say it. He just writes it all the time.
I don't even know how half these words are pronounced.
So while you were there, like you were saying, you were at the Crimson Screen Horror Festival, showing your table all set up for your next film. You actually screened Disengaged and won the award for Best Screenplay.
Yeah, and we were up for Best Poster, Best Director, and Best Film this year. Last year we were just up for. We weren't up for Best Film, but we were up for a Screenplay, Director, and Poster last year. So it's kind of cool. We had one extra one this year, nomination-wise.
Speaking of which, who does your posters? Because I've seen, Disengaged and Foodie both have great posters. You recently released the poster for your next film online, also awesome. Do you do these yourself, or?
No. I'm a huge stickler for having a nice poster. Too many people, they go to Photoshop hell with their poster, where they just Photoshop people's heads on it.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm disappointed I didn't see like half of Nicolas Cage's face on your poster. I've come to expect.
That was my suggestion, but it got vetoed every time.
Yeah, well, and you see why. Patrick Jones did the poster, did Foodie, did Disengaged, and my newer short coming out. He did the poster for that. I think he's with Bama Gamma Design, I think his site. But he's amazing, and I remember with Foodie. He was originally hired as like the graphic designer to help with the opening motion graphics scene that I can't remember the guy's name, Zach Abrams was doing, and he mentions like, hey, have you guys done a poster? And because he had an idea, and he came up with the concept of the poster where it's like the knife and a fork and the ends of them are bones, and I was like, man, that's amazing. So I've really liked working with him. It came close. He did get kind of busy for this past poster, and I was worried he wasn't going to be able to do it, but we found time to do it, and I'm really happy because people we were selling posters, and there had few people that bought posters there. So yeah, I think the way that you market your film, part of that. The biggest impression some people have is just the poster sometimes. So sometimes I see that before the trailer comes out. So if you do a good job with that, then people are intrigued and want to see more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we even noticed that. My wife and I were at the theater last night. We went and saw Mad Max Fury Road. And, there were a couple movies there that she's like, what's that? It's got Morgan Freeman and Diane Keaton. I haven't heard anything about that, or, what's that one over there with Arnold Schwarzenegger? And it's, like you said, a lot of movies. I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid stuff like Fast and Furious and Avengers and soon Star Wars. But there are a lot of films out there that people haven't heard of, and that poster is your first and possibly last chance to sell them on it.
Yeah, and so sometimes that's the only thing you have to put out there initially if you want to get noticed. So I think
not everybody's going to get the Disengaged pack of playing cards.
Exactly.
That's a special prize.
Yeah, actually, I had one left over. I had one extra that I ordered when we ordered those for the perks when we did our crowdsourcing campaign for Disengaged, and I originally was going to keep them for myself, but I need money.
All 500 decks.
Yeah, but then like when you're paying to go to all these festivals and conventions and stuff, it's you start to run out of money, so
you
have to money back somehow.
Yeah, and I can always order more if I want to, so that's always a plus.
So that was a screenplay award, which congrats to both of you, especially Eric, who wrote that one. I got to ask, if you want to talk a little bit about the screenplay for that one. That wasn't something that you came to Eric with the idea about. Eric, you came up with that one on your own, right?
Yeah. That's actually a short story I had published. It's called A Way Yet to Go in a short story collection called Brief Grizzlies. Foodie was just straight up a screenplay that I brought with me. I tried to make it a short story, but the short story really sucked. So it was obvious it was just better as a film. This one I liked as a story, and it's different. Originally, when I adapted it, there was no dialogue in it at all, and so when I brought it to Christopher, he was having he said that since Foodie was so wordy, that I was gonna give him something that was the exact opposite, with no words spoken in it whatsoever. But after we kind of started treating it and working through it, he had some ideas for some areas where we could have the characters interact through flashbacks. So we started adding dialogue. But I remember I kept messing with him every time he would send me back notes. I'd be like, "That's more dialogue, Christopher." Remember you said you didn't want to do as much dialogue.
Yeah, he actually being truthful. He did say that.
There's,
No, but yeah, but I think my initial concept with that is, we really want to know these people that she's taking care of, so you have a little bit of affinity for them, and especially when you have there's the boyfriend character, and so you need to know why that she's doing this. Why is she taking care of these neighbors? Why is it so important? Because she hopes that they'll unfreeze. So. But yeah, it was a cool process, and I think his original story was much more mysterious in the end, and I think I was the one that made it more Hollywood.
Well, mine, I never wanted to talk about it too much, especially when we were on set filming, because you never know how people can get upset about certain topics.
Oh, throw them under the bus right now. We're having fun.
Well, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I mean, I'm just originally I wanted to do a take on the Christian rapture, and try to mix that in there with zombie mythology type, if because in the Christian rapture stories, most of the ones I grew up with, the bodies go up into heaven. You know what I mean? Like, the people just go up there. It's very clean and tidy. You know what I mean? As opposed to, what if those bodies were just left? Somebody's going to have to clean that shit up, man. It's not going to be a clean and tidy affair. It might act, so we catch this character at day 19 of, these human beings not really interacting anymore. So there's a lot of decomposition going on. And that's supposed to scare the heck out of you. It's kind of what I wanted to go for with the original story. Doesn't always play on film.
Well, that and I think we didn't want it to be overly, hit people over the head with a big religious message. To some degree. Although I did have the one, extremely Christian.
Yeah.
Drinking alcohol and
she had a bottle of Elijah Craig. She had a bottle of brown corn.
Yeah, no, I think there's a line we cut out of her where she's talking badly about because there's a lesbian couple that has a kid across the way. So I think that's my Southern Baptist upbringing coming into it. But yeah, that's what I loved about it as well when he told me that, because I was, I had always read about the rapture and I'd seen movies about it, and actually I think many years ago I used to collect books on the rapture because I wanted to do a movie about it. So this sort of ended up being that. I even had someone at Crimson Screen because they were asking what exactly it was, and I sort of explained that was the initial thought, and they're like, oh, we totally see that. So there's some people that actually do see that, even if we don't spell it out, because everybody's wondering what caused it,
Yeah, that's something that we can really explore if someone was interested in getting us to write a feature. We could do.
Hey, if you got to do a sequel to the Left Behind movie, then you could get your Nicolas Cage in there.
That's
no,
not.
No. By the way, that's the second time you said Nicolas Cage. If you say it one more time, he's probably going to appear. So.
No, we don't want that.
No, because I'm going to.
From now on, when I bring up Nicolas Cage, it'll be a drinking game.
Yes.
So that was one thing I was curious about, since we're talking about a screenwriting award. How different was the original story that you came up with, Eric? How different was that from what ended up on screen? Because it sounds like we got the ending got changed a little bit, and we got a couple scenes deleted. Was it pretty close?
Well, scenes were actually probably added as opposed to originally it was a man. But the gender wasn't really important in this story, in my story. The way that it transformed into from a way you have to go into disengaged is it was a woman, and the entire subplot of the well, it's a spoiler, so I'm want to be careful, but the entire subplot of the boyfriend is just for the film, and the ending is different as well. So it's kind of like it's two separate stories, which is fun because if you really, really enjoy one, you can go to the other, kind of like Walking Dead, the comics, and Walking Dead, the TV show. But if you enjoy one, you can go check out the other. But they're two different stories that take place in the same kind of world, in the same setting and scenario.
Okay.
Sort of. I think they're very similar, but there's a lot of changes.
Yeah, I mean it's not huge changes. I mean, I think if anything, the ending just goes more into it because I think he sort of leaves you hanging, like, oh, what's going to happen next? And but yeah, it's,
I like to do that.
I know you do.
Heavily influenced by The Sopranos.
So we've been talking about your screenwriting award at the Crimson Screen Festival, but at the same time, on the same weekend, you also won an award for best directing at the Kill You Ride. That's right? Kill You Ride.
Kill You Ride Film Festival.
Kill You Ride Film Festival, and that one is in Myrtle Beach. So
Myrtle Beach.
You guys kind of swept South Carolina this weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Christopher G. Moore's films take South Carolina like William Tecumseh Sherman, dude. He doesn't play around. He comes in there, and when he leaves, he's got a car full of trophies.
Yeah, we were nominated for Best Film and Best Actress. I was really happy Alina got a nomination.
Cool.
She should have won.
I
should have won.
I would have rather her win than I did because I want to see. I want to spread the love when it comes to all the different facets to make these films what they are. You know, it wouldn't exist without Eric's imagination. It wouldn't exist without Alina's amazing performance.
Right.
Right.
Not to downplay, the role of a director and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
he does a couple things too.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times the director gets a lot of the fanfare, for most of the like best film and the film itself. So, I would prefer it sometimes if other people, but I'm not totally upset that I won. I mean, Crimson Screen, I was nominated last year for director, and I was nominated again this year there. And then to win a director's award, I got a little emotional.
Well, I imagine there's some pretty stiff competition there.
Well, the thing is, because film is always on the way, and a lot of times of the director, it's nice to actually somebody point out, hey, you did a great job. It's specifically you, as a director, the stuff that you did to bring everybody together and to finish it, So yeah, it's a great feeling to finally get an award specifically, for me, for my name. So.
Well, I'll even go a little further on this one. I was on set for this one, and he was really, really, I mean, he was a madman when it came to getting some of these crazy shots. So it was fun to kind of watch him draw on his little iPad. What is that thing called?
Yeah, it was an iPad.
He would come in with these shots that he'd basically drawn like these little stick figures, and then he would turn around and like get that shot. And they weren't like easy ones. We had like drone helicopters flying and Alfred Hitchcock shots, and then the big sort around spin around shot like they do in Color and Money. What Scorsese does.
Yeah. We called it the Michael Bay shot, where the camera goes around the actor.
Right. But no, so I mean, I think the director's award, and not just a smooch on Chris here, but the director's award was a long time coming on this film, more so than but I'll take it. But yeah, good job.
Right. Well, no, congratulations. Both of those awards, both screenwriting and directing, those are, like I said, at both festivals, I'm sure there were stiff competitions. That's high praise from your peers to say that you made the best, either you made the best film or you brought the best bribe to the judges.
South Carolina's really easy. Just bring barbecue.
Yeah.
Barbecue and ginger ale.
So I gotta ask, because I first saw Disengaged back at the horror film festival that Eric put on at Motorco in Durham right before Halloween last year. So, and that was, what are we talking, 7-8 months ago?
October.
So the film has been out there for a while. At this point, I guess this is one for you, Chris, since you were actually at the festival. at this point, has word about the film kind of gotten out there? Are there people who are people still surprised and don't know about it, or are they saying, yeah, I've heard a lot about Disengaged, I'm really looking forward to seeing it, or maybe even they've seen it before and they say, I can't wait to see it again?
Well, it was interesting at Crimson Screen. There was a lot of people were looking forward to seeing it because they loved Foodie. There was several people that came up and complimented. It's like, I really loved Foodie last year. I bought a copy of it last year, and so that was good. And people were asking, like, where's Eric? I had like 2 or 3 people ask where he was. So it's cool that we've built like a little bit of a fan base there, I guess. And then I've had festivals contact me about, because they hear about it. We got some really nice rave reviews on different sites. And it got into New York City Horror Film Festival, which is one of my bucket list film festivals. I got to go to Pasadena for a film festival there. So yeah, it's pretty cool that
You actually got to escape the cold for the Pasadena Film Festival, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
30 degrees here and 80 degrees there.
Oh my God, yeah, it was so beautiful in Pasadena. I got to go visit LA for the first time. I've never been, and I had a blast there. Just sightseeing, and I got to meet a few people, hang out with a few people that I've met through online, through Twitter and Facebook. I got to meet them in person. So my composer, Rob Goki, lives in LA, so I got to meet him in person, because the only time I'd really talked to him was when we FaceTimed about the music, Disengaged. So yeah, it's
that guy in the first place. Somebody on the other side of the country that you've never met before. Was that
social media? I think I came across him on Twitter, and I just followed his career, and he would comment on my stuff. I'd comment on his stuff, and then when Disengaged came around, I really wanted a really nice score, and I think the first thing I told him is, like, I really like a John Williams to my Spielberg. Not to say that I'm on that level, but I really want somebody who could bring to life stuff, because I think music's very important. And in Disengaged, there's a couple of really emotional scenes that, once we put the music down, I actually got teary-eyed watching my own film, and I was like, what the F? I don't understand this. So I didn't think I could ever do something that would create that kind of response. Most of the time, stuff I do, it's either like people being shocked or laughing, and so to have something that's that dramatic, it's a pretty good feeling, and I think all those different facets sort of come together. But yeah, Rob, he's great. He did the music to my newest film coming out soon, and
what you
hopefully
really
I'll keep
meant
working
when
with him.
you made the John Williams comparison was you were trying to tell him that if he did a good job, he'd be on the hook for the next 45 years, right?
Pretty much. As long as he keeps doing a good job, I'll keep him by my side. But yeah, he's great. And that's the cool thing. It's like just meeting all these really cool people through social media, that can sort of we can all work together. I mean, if this had been like 20 years ago, you wouldn't have that kind of connection that you have now, to where most of the time you try to work with people locally, but like I said, we actually did what they called spot sessions for the film, where we go through little by little and say, hey, I want this type of music here, I want this type of music here, minute by minute, frame by frame. And so that process for me was really cool, because as a filmmaker, I'd always wanted to do that. You always see like the behind the scenes stuff, all the special features on Blu-rays and DVDs where they're making the music to Lord of the Rings and stuff. And so to have to do that really just made me feel really good as a filmmaker, and made me feel like the product's much more polished because of that.
I know at some point you took the opportunity to say, we need more cowbell here.
Not yet. Maybe.
That's a hard temptation. It's going to happen sometime.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
Well, again, congratulations on both the awards, guys. It's really awesome. I don't want to tie you up too long, but I'd be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to talk about what you're working on next. Christopher, we've dropped a couple hints about your next movie. a few times. So go ahead and tell everybody about that one.
Okay. Well, my next short film is one I wrote, and we're pretty much close to finishing it because I really want to send it as a premiere to world premiere to Fantastic Fest. So everybody cross your fingers for that. It's called Knob Goblins, and just to put it simply, it's about a demonic creature that bites your penis off. So it's a family film.
Which you can figure out just from looking at the poster because it's a great poster.
Yeah. Actually, I came up with a concept because we were trying to figure out the best poster to make for it, and I thought it might be funny if you did it like some kind of like a caution type sign. Yeah, Patrick, he ran with it and made a really cool poster. So of course, I came up with a tagline: "Say goodbye to your little friend," which makes me laugh every time I see it.
I saw the picture for that on Facebook. Are you actually selling copies of that poster yet?
We do have copies, mini posters right now for sale that I definitely will make available. I know that if I go to any conventions and stuff, I'll definitely have some available. And I also, what I've been doing is when I'm going to conventions, if I have a table or whatever, I actually bring the Knob Goblin inside of a pet carrier.
Oh, it's actually in the pet carrier? I've seen the pet carrier. I didn't know that the monster was in there.
Yeah, we did it at Mad Monster Party in Charlotte, and security stopped me one time. They thought I'd brought a dog in there. I was like, no, it's a monster, and I showed it to him.
Okay. No dogs allowed. Monsters are cool. What does the monster do? It bites your penis off. All right, go on in.
Yeah, at some point I'm probably going to add some like stuff so it'll move, so people come close to it, I can make it bite it. Then.
I was going to ask you, is there like a hole in the bottom you can stick your hand up in there?
Not yet. I'm going to make like a trigger type thing that'll make it chomp and stuff. So we'll see. I'm really proud with this because I always wanted to do a creature movie. And my good friend Bill Mulligan, who I've a local filmmaker, writer, really cool guy. He does special effects as well. And I remember when I was asking, like, is anybody be interested in helping coming up with that? And he said, I'd be interested. And so I drew sort of a design of it. And then I didn't realize until he made it, it's like my design was very phallic. it's basically a big penis creature with horns. So, but yeah, it's crazy. I had a lot of fun making it. I got my good filmmaker friend Jason Buterin is in it. Taryn. And
Tom Gore, because Tom Gore's in everything.
Of course, he's in everything. But yeah, so that's the next sort of project. And then after that, actually, I'm writing a haunted house screenplay with my good friend Jeffrey Moore. And so we're in the process of finishing that script up. And once we finish it, hopefully I'll be looking to maybe filming something later in the year for that. So it'll be my first feature, so I'm really excited about it.
That is really cool. Yeah, I not many other people know. I actually went did a set visit for one of the days of the shoot, and I got a buttload of behind-the-scenes footage and interviews with the cast and crew that one of these days, I promise I will get around to editing into a little behind-the-scenes feature. One of the things that actually held it up a little bit was I had asked you pretty early on about putting it together, and you had said you didn't want me to go ahead and show the monster before you were ready to release it, because I had a pretty cool chat with Bill where he was actually talking about how he put it together and everything. So, hopefully once the movie comes out and people have had a chance to see it, then I can put together this episode with Bill actually talking a little bit about the making of it, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wanted to sort of little by little bring it out in the public and stuff. I know that we got onto one of the bigger horror sites, Dread Central. They actually posted our poster and stuff. I can't really say right now, but I do have an interview tomorrow with a big horror thing that I'm really excited about, and because they're going to talk.
Can I ask you a question? Does it start with an F and rhyme with Gangoria?
I plead the fifth.
You can't answer. Okay. You can't answer.
I don't want to jinx it, but possibly. And for me, that's
a big thing, dude.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, I don't know if it'll be on the site or whatever, but if it's in the magazine, I'll have to take a day off of work because I'll be. I'll have to recover because I read Fangoria as a kid. My love of horror came from reading that, and and just at one point I wanted to be a special effects artist based on reading that, and to have anything that I'm doing in their magazine or on their site to me is a win. I got to meet Tony Timpone, who's one of the original editors or worked with the magazine many years ago. I met him when I was in New York City Horror Film Festival, and so cross your fingers that everything will work out with that. If it does, I mean, to me, that's another check I can check off on my bucket list of stuff that I really want as a filmmaker, as a horror filmmaker.
Nice.
And that's a great thing.
Fair, I wasn't complaining or trying to be a jerk with saying that you didn't want me to reveal the creature. I mean, one of my biggest pet peeves is when there's an upcoming movie with a cool monster or something, and you're like, man, I wonder what that thing's look like, or what that thing's gonna look like, and then like some like Hasbro or something shows off the action figure of it at a toy convention, and you're like, oh man,
Yeah. Well,
originally in the movie, and they ruined it by showing the toy.
Well, I mean, originally we were thinking maybe the poster might actually have the monster on it, and Patrick is like, I don't think we need to show the monster on the poster, and I agreed with him. And I think that what we do right now the cool thing is the marketing of this has been a lot of fun, because I actually found a company that prints images on condoms, and so we're going to have Knobgoblin junk protector condoms that I'm going to use for marketing purposes.
Okay.
So I doubt anybody will ever wear them, but I think it's a novelty that might,
And if anybody out there does get one and wear it, do not post photos.
I don't want to see pictures of it. Don't be Snapchatting me photos of your Knobgoblin condom on. But
I'm gonna do it.
This would be as good an idea as Nick night at the baseball game.
Yeah, so I mean that's the fun part. And I mean, even thinking about making a bobblehead where the monster is the bobblehead part where it's attached to his crotch. So there's a lot of silly stuff we're coming up with for this, and so it's a fun process, and so I do appreciate you coming out that day and doing some behind the scenes stuff.
Oh no, it was a lot of fun. That was one of the more interesting sets I've ever been on, of the 2 or 3 that I've actually been on. But I got to meet a lot of cool people. That was my first time meeting Piper Kessler, your sound person, in person. I knew her by reputation, but had never met her in person before. Jason Buterin, had not met him before. In my mind, he's still an actor because that's the only time I ever met him.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was that I keep thinking about him in costume, but then every time I see a picture of him, I was like, oh wait, he just showed up in his street clothes. That's just Jason.
Yeah, it is. And he was kind of joking with me because he was nominated for Best Director at Kill Your Ride as well. Mm-hmm. And I think his first comment was, "Damn it."
That sounds like him.
Yeah, he's like,
I also got to meet Ishmael Abdikala for the first time.
Oh man, he's amazing, and I hope to work with him on future projects. Anything I want, he pulls it out of his butt, So he's amazing as a cinematographer.
And he's a trip too. He's a fun guy.
Oh, he's totally fun. I mean, he's been really fun to hang around, and because some of the production stuff we did, like I just recently, we're in the process of color correcting Knobgoblins, and so yeah, he brings a lot of energy and fun to the set. That's for sure. I mean, there's some bloopers from Disengaged where this woman, the next door neighbor, was like playing the Titanic theme, and then some techno song comes on, and Ish, everybody jumps out in front of the camera dancing, and Ish was one of the first people to do it. So.
And you're like, why is my camera guy in front of the camera? What the fuck?
Yeah, he's fun like that. So you want somebody like that to sort of bring coolness to the proceedings.
Right. So we lost Eric just when I was getting ready to ask him what he's working on. You there, man? We got a thumbnail.
Yes,
there we go. Before you drop out again, tell us what you're working on, Eric.
Okay, I got 3 things coming up. We have Liana on Command, which is a very short film. It's a 12-minute film we put together last summer. That's on festivals. That's in festivals right now. Starring Jeffrey Moore, who we mentioned earlier, Tracy Coppage, and Meredith Sousie. And I got the three of them back together for a film that we're actually picture locking this week called The Hoodoo of Sweet Mama Rosa. That's a bigger one. It's 30 minutes. Both of those are based on short stories I've written. And hey, speaking of stories I've written, next Tuesday, May the 26th, my second novel comes out. It's called Hashtag.
Second novel. Nice.
Yes. That guy's going to come out. I hope everybody likes it. That's a big. That's what I've got. And then I'm
trailer for it, did you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Bob, I did. We have a little 2.5-minute trailer that we've got out there right now to pimp the book that I hope everyone likes as well. That one stars Michael Howard and Hannah Brown, shot by the wonderful Nick Carner.
Cool. And you wouldn't happen to be doing any interviews about that trailer anytime soon, would you?
It's a good question, Bob. As a matter of fact, I am. Next Monday, I'm getting together with Bob at Local Film Talk to discuss the making of the trailer.
Oh, you don't want to talk to that guy. He's an asshole.
He's peaches in my book.
If I keep having you on this show more, man, I'm going to have to get you a coffee mug with your name on it.
I can get you
a shot glass.
I think a shot glass would be better.
Well, those are all awesome projects that I hope to, definitely hope to have you guys on in the future to talk about. So thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
Well, I know we have a showing next week on Tuesday.
Fuck, you told me about that. I forgot.
Where it's like 2 shorts and a feature. And so we'll be the first short shown, and I'm gonna bring
film community at Carolina Theater next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Right?
Yeah.
No, I think it's 6:30.
Yes, 6. Yeah, I think the doors open at 6 and it starts at 6:30.
Okay. Don't listen to me, people. Read the show notes.
Yeah, if you go at 8, you're gonna miss Disengage.
That's the day my book comes out. So if I were you, I would stop by your local bookstore or download it straight to your Kindle, and then head on up to Disengage and let me sign your chest.
And I'll bring Eric's award there and present it to him personally.
Nice.
Give him a big hug.
So when do you get the Kill Your Ride awards? Do they mail those to you or what?
I don't know if they do awards.
Okay.
You have some film festivals that don't. Sometimes they'll do certificates and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I do. Mentioning something else, I have a short film that's actually going to be screening at Con Carolina. It's called Action on the First Date, where I worked with Elena and 2 of the guys, Brian Lee and Matt from Beat Down Boogie, to do the Mario Warfare thing that I'm co-writer on.
That's a deep cut, man.
Yeah. So that film will be screening at the Con Carolina Film Festival at the end of this month. So if you're in the area, sadly I will not be. It'll be my first year not going there because Beat Down Boogie got invited to MomoCon in Atlanta. So we got a free hotel in Atlanta. So.
Oh yeah, can't turn down that free hotel.
Yeah.
That includes room service, right?
Yeah. Well, hope so.
At least it'll cover that hole you put in the wall.
Exactly.
Hey, why'd you put a hole in the wall, dude?
You know why. Put my Knobgoblin in there. I tell you, the jokes keep coming with Knobgoblin.
Oh, Lord.
If you see some of the titles of the articles they did on Knobgoblin, I was laughing every time somebody would post an article about it, saying you get your junk bitten off and all that stuff. So.
Oh, sometimes when I do these, sometimes these little thumbnails in the corner are there, and sometimes they're not on the final video. Mm-hmm. And to anybody who's watching right now, if the thumbnails are in the corner, I encourage everybody to go back when Christopher was describing some of the upcoming merchandise, and keep your eyes on Eric's reaction. We're talking about Knobgoblin condoms and Knobgoblin bobbleheads. If I could
I'm wearing one right now. I'm wearing one right now, Bob. Check it out.
It's a good thing I already swore, so I already committed to putting an explicit tag on this podcast.
There you go. Brings a whole new meaning to hang out. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, guys. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you very
I don't
much.
think we ran too long, but it was a lot of fun. It was definitely worth it.
Well, thank
I
you.
had a blast.
Yeah, we always love it.
Did you say something, Eric?
Oh, I said I had a blast.
Oh, I thought you said you had one more thing. Okay.
No. I had a blast. This is the most fun I've had with my pants on all week.
Well, I look forward to talking to both of you guys again. Thanks for chatting with me.
Thanks for having
Bob.
us on.